Hello, and welcome to Caretaker's Corner, where we discuss topics concerning caring for elderly parents, disabled spouses, and special needs adult children. My name is CJ, and welcome and thank you for joining me for today's topic, the scariest thing a caretaker can think of. And it's what happens if something happens to us. So I have had a rough week, and I know that several of my buddies at work who are also caretakers have had horrible weeks with allergies. I mean, we've in our area we've had a lot of rain, and it's spring, and allergies have just been well, for lack of a better word, immobilizing. So we've all been where we can barely move because of them. And then I've had a shoulder injury for the last couple of weeks that have caused me to be less than par, let me say. And I've had to take some medicine that has caused me to not be able to do a lot of what I normally do. My exercise routine has been cut in half. I've not been able to do to be functional for as long as I normally am. So my days are normally about 18-hour days. I usually try and sleep for about 6 hours a day. I get up about 2:45 in the morning, and I walk the dog, I feed the dog, I feed Barbara, I do my exercises for about half an hour, I get my lunch ready for work, I leave the house about 4 a.m., I walk into work and start working at 5 a.m., I work till 4:30, I leave work at 4:30, Mondays and Wednesdays I go to the gym, and I have yoga from 4:30 to 6:30, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays I go to my dad's house, and I'm usually at my dad's house till about 6:30. Fridays I go to my mom's house, where I'm at my mom's house till about 6:30, and then Sundays I'm at my house all day. So that's my normal schedule. And this week it's just been all messed up because of how I've been feeling. And it brings to mind, and one of my buddies at work whose allergies have been really bad, she had to go to the doctor this week for them. Previously had to have knee surgery and was down for a while. And I know that affected her greatly, and she takes care of both of her parents. And I know that one of the biggest fears I have is what happens to Barbara and my parents if something happens to me. I take care of my dad, and I am the sole caretaker of my dad, and I take care of Barbara, and I have my best buddies, best friends in the whole world, help me take care of Barbara. And when I'm in the hospital and stuff, which happens quite a lot for me, my best friends do go over and check on my dad, and they help out with him some. But in the event something, and I know that in the event something really bad were to happen to me, they take care of Barbara and everything. But I mean, what would happen to my dad and my mom and everything if something happened to me? And this is a big thing that we deal with. It's a huge anxiety issue. It's actually one of my biggest anxieties, actually. I have huge nightmares about it. I mean, taking care of my family is my biggest anxiety issue. I mean, on the scale of, people have the fear of dying, and people have the fear of talking in front of people. I don't. I'll talk in front of people all day. I almost died at the age of 16. I mean, I really don't have that fear. But I really have the fear of not being able to take care of my family. I have dreams all the time where I forget to feed the dogs and they die. I forget to feed my family, and I come home and they're all dead because they starved to death. I mean, this is actually my greatest fear. And so I know that I can't be the only caretaker out there with this fear. So the way I think that we should do, I mean, I really think that, so what we've done in my family is we have actually discussed this, because like I said, this is a great point of contention for me. We have discussed this, and we have made plans. So on top of dealing with the fact that I obviously have a problem with providing food and shelter for my family. So we have food meal prep done, so that way I don't have to worry about that. You know, like I've discussed, every Sunday I've already got the meals ready for the week. It is officially 9:02 a.m. on Sunday morning, and all the meals for the week are done. All the way through Saturday, all the way through Saturday. And then, but that's just one of the small things. The big thing is what happens in the long run. And so we have talked, because, you know, we're all getting older in my household. I'm the oldest, I'm 50, and I'm fairly young, I think. And we've discussed it about, you know, we've got 2 properties, and we want a property where everything's going to be like on one level. And but we've thought about it, and, you know, we've come up with plans like, you know, going to a assisted living facility when we all get much older. You know, one of those where you have like the condo, and you can do like have your own thing, but also have like if you need extra help, you can have the extra help, the medical help, and the cooking help, and all of that jazz, and the driving help. These are talks, though, that you all need to have with your families. And like with my family, with my dad and my mom and my stepdad, talks we've had to have is, when is the point that I can no longer take care of them? That's the hard talk to have, because there does come a point where you just are physically unable to take care of a person. With my mother-in-law, I think we tried to do a lot more and hold on a lot longer than we probably should have. And I think it was mentally and physically and emotionally draining on us. Just more than it should have been, because we tried to hold on a lot longer than we should have in order to make it better for her. And in the process, it did not make it better for her, but it did drain on the rest of us. And at that point, there were actually 3 of us, because at that point, Barbara was in better health, and it was myself, Barbara, and her younger sister, and we were taking care of their mother and their father, who had Parkinson's, and their mother was paraplegic. And we were doing everything in our power to keep them going at home. And while we were working full time and doing all this other stuff, and it came down to be quite draining. And it turns out that their lives actually were better once they were in a nursing home. Now, not for us, because Barbara felt really guilty about having to make that move, so it was really draining on her. But in reality, for them, it was a much better move. These are discussions that you have to have. Now, I've informed my parents there comes a point where I will not be able to take care of them. And there comes a point where you have to sit down, you have to make a list, you have to find a professional to talk to. If you cannot come up with that list by yourself, find a professional to talk to. Write down that list. Come up with that list. Where is your line? Where can you no longer physically, emotionally, take care of them? Is it the point where you can no longer lift them? Is it the point where you do not have the energy, where you do not have the emotional ability, where you just cannot do it, where just getting out of bed in the morning, having to go through the emotion, just causes you to want to just scream and shout and die, right? I've informed my parents the point that they will have to seek extra help and probably put them in a facility that will provide extra care is when they need extra bathing help and when they can no longer take care of certain things by themselves. I have certain issues where I cannot take care of bodily fluids. And that is where they will have to seek extra help. And that's just an honest thing. I can't do that. Physically, I get quite ill. So my parents understand that once they get to that point that we will have to seek either extra help coming in to take care of those things, such as bathing and cleaning them up and stuff like that, or we will have to put them in facilities. Because I don't have that ability. The same with Barbara. We've discussed it. I can't do bodily fluids. I can't. And in all honesty, I don't touch feet either. I don't even like touching my own feet. And I wish I could get past that, but I haven't been able to in 50 years. You know, half a century, I don't see that changing. But on a serious note, it's one of those things that it's really been brought to my attention lately, again, on my own level because of how I have been feeling lately. And I want you all to take the time, start planning now, because you don't want this to be oh no, wake up tomorrow, your doctor tells you, hey, you have a serious issue, a debilitating disease, God forbid, something that is going to continue to get worse over the next several years, and you are not going to be able to take care of them, say, within a 5 or 10 year span. Something that is out of your control, plan now. Have a plan and schedule a place so that way, if it happens, there's no surprise for anybody. You guys have an action plan. You know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. You can get past all the emotions now because it's going to be emotional. And if you can take as much of the emotional hit out of it now, while people can think about it logically, because, if you do it now, you're like, okay, let's think about this logically while you're not in the situation. Then you can make a lot logical decisions. Because when you're in the emotions, they're going, I don't want to go, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I want you to continue to take care of me. And you're going to be like, oh, I want to continue to take care of you, and to the detriment of your own health. And there comes a point where you've got to go, I can't do it anymore because of my health. It's a hard step to take. I've been there. But there is a point where you have to take that step. And you don't want to have to take it and it be emotional. Because sometimes people don't talk to you for a few weeks, and sometimes people feel overly guilty about it, and it ends up even worse. In our case, when it came down to it, Wilma that's Barb's mom, did not want to talk to anybody for weeks on end. She was very angry. Barbara felt overly guilty about having to do it, and we were at the nursing home every single day 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day, every day. And that wasn't healthy for us either. I mean, that didn't really improve the situation. So I'm going to make the big suggestion that you do pre-plan. There is nothing better. Have that talk. Bring in a professional if you need it. As a caretaker, seek that professional by yourself. And then if you still need that person, bring that person into the conversation with your spouse or your parents. And if it has to be with the adult child, which if you have an adult child, you need to take into account that at some point, that adult child will need outside care because they will probably outlive you. And that's something nobody likes to think about, but there has to be a plan for that child after you're deceased. And that's one of those things you just have to think about and make plans for. So I know this hasn't been a very pleasant video, and I'm sorry about that, but this is one that definitely needs to be thought about and had. And so I hope this has helped people, and until next week, have a great week. And remember, we're here for each other. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section. Have a great week. Bye-bye.